Hello and welcome to the video lecture series brought to you by St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management. In this video lecture series, we are discussing the topic or the subject called Object Technologies and Programming in Java. And from the last lecture, we have begun a new topic called multi-threading. And in the last lecture, we have discussed about what is multi-threading, what is the idea of multi-threading, what are the two types of multi-threadings or the multitasking we have, and which one we can control, and on which type of multitasking we are going to focus on. We have also started initializing, let's say, building a new class which actually includes a new thread which will run in parallel to the main thread, and today we are going to finish that. Okay, so let's get ahead to the IDE. So I have removed everything that I have done in the last lecture to start fresh, and let's start writing. So I'll start from the beginning, but this time I will also insert some comments in there so that you can understand what I am trying to do here more, let's say, easily. So let's insert a comment where I'm going to create a class, class which implements the interface runnable. Okay, now, and runnable is the interface which is used to create classes for multi-threading, or I would say for creating a new thread. Oops. Okay. What I would do is I will enter here so that everything is. Let's put this inside large comment, and okay, I think okay. Let's start the class. We will always, as you know, we will create the class by using the keyword called class. Okay. So class, and let's name it my thread. As so by using these two words we have created the class, but I will try to implement the interface runnable. For that particular thing we have to use the keyword called implement. Okay, implements and runnable, and there we go. So it is showing that. Okay, nothing. So the class has been created whose name is my thread, and it implements the interface called runnable. Let me again tell you that runnable is defined in java.lang package. Okay, which is by default being imported by the Java type environment every now and then when it tries to compile some class. Okay, so you don't need to import anything here. Now, as you know, if we implement a particular interface, then we have to implement all its methods inside the class. Now, runnable has only one method that must be implemented, which is defined inside the let's say runnable interface. That particular method is void run, and we have the body. Okay. Oh yes, one thing we forgot, as we've discussed in the interface, topics that it must be declared as public. Okay, so that is it. All the errors have gone now. Now we'll do inside this run what we intend to do lately. First, we have to do something else. Okay, the thread is not created actually. Now, I will start one more comment here. Now I will create a variable of class thread. Okay, now as I've told you before, you can create an thread using either by implementing the interface runnable or by extending the superclass called thread. Now this is that particular class which you can extend. Okay, so okay, let's say I will end this comment here. Okay, so the thread is my PRT, let's say its name, and now I'm going to call its constructor, not call but create the constructor for class my thread. Okay, I don't think my thread is not THR. It is okay, I don't know why it is showing that. Okay, let's create the constructor. So all I have to do is write the name of the class, my thread, and ask for arguments if there are any, and the body. So I will ask for one argument called the name of type string. Okay, now this name will be the name of the thread that you are going to create here. That is the thread that which you want to run parallelly with the main thread. If you want to name it, then you can pass on that name here by using the constructor of this class myThread, and that name will be assigned to your thread everywhere it is going to be used. So that will be done automatically. Now what we have to do is we will see we have declared the variable or an object of type thread, but we have not instantiated it. So I will try to instantiate the object my thread. As you know, we can do this by the keyword new. So new thread, and the constructor of the class my thread actually have two. In this case, as it have multiple constructors, but we are going to use a particular constructor implementation which accepts two arguments. One is an object and next one is the name. Now we have already inserted the name, but first I am going to pass an object. I am going to pass an object. So I am going to write here this and comma and then name, and that is it. Okay, I have misspelled that. Now it must be okay. Okay, so let's pass one more argument, comment here. Object of class thread will encapsulate the object of the class which has functionality of the new thread. Okay, so what this line means is that the object of my thread of the object of thread class will encapsulate the object of the class in which you are trying to create your own thread. Now I'm going to create my own custom thread in the class myThread. So this object of class thread will accept the object of my thread as an argument. So this is what I have done here. This keyword actually signifies the object of the class in which we are now. We are now inside the class myThread. So object of myThread is passed on as argument to the object of class thread. So now you must understand what is the meaning of encapsulation. By encapsulation I means this object actually encloses this object or has taken over the control of this object. Now this signifies the object of class myThread. So basically myTRD has taken the control of myThread object. Okay, and I have also passed on the name. Now the new thread which has been created by this class myThread now has a name, and that name is provided by you. So this name will pass on to here, and that new thread will have a name that is exactly that you have passed. So I think I have made myself clear. This is a bit confusing, but all you can see here is all I have done is that while I am creating a new object of a class thread, the constructor of thread class actually accept two arguments. One is another object and a string which is actually the name of the new thread, and the object which I must pass to the object of thread class is actually the object of that class, in this case myThread, in which you are going to start building your new thread. I am going to start building my own custom thread in the class myThread, and the object of this particular class must be passed on to this particular object myTRD, which is of type thread, and that is what I have done here. Now one more thing that we have to do in this constructor is there is a method which has been defined in the thread class, this class called start, and this is actually the starting button of your thread. Without calling this method, you cannot start the execution of your custom thread. So I'm going to call this myTRD dot start, and that is it. Now I can call this particular function in the main class also, or anywhere in outside this constructor. But what is the let's say advantage of doing this here is, when in the main class we will create an object of class myThread. If I when that particular object is instantiated, its constructor will be called automatically. As you know that we have already discussed the constructors, and while that creation of the constructor, everything inside the constructor body will be executed, and inside that body a new object of class thread is created, and a method called start, which is defined inside thread, has automatically been called. So it means the moment you will try to create an object in this class of class new thread, at the same time your new thread will start executing, so you don't have to do extra stuff. So I have automated the starting of my new thread by calling the method start inside the constructor itself. If you are not familiar with constructors, or if you are not understanding what I'm trying to say, then I'm sorry, you have to go back to the lecture called constructor, or you have to start reading about constructor. First you must start read a few lines about the constructor, what are constructors, otherwise else this will not make sense for you. Okay, now only one thing left. that we have to do here is, I still doesn't define until now what my new thread is going to do. Ultimately, a thread is also a task which must run parallelly to your main task. That is the meaning of the multitasking in the concept of threads actually. Na? So inside this method called run, we are going to define what our new thread is going to do actually. So let's write the body of this method. So first I will write a command which signifies me that I am actually inside the new thread. Let me again tell you, after calling the start method, the method run actually start executing itself, or you can say that until and unless you call the method start, the method run will not start executing. And start, after implementation of the method called start, the method run will automatically start. Okay, so start will call the method run, and inside the run you will define what your new thread is going to do. That is the main crux. Okay, so I'll also write a comment I haven't written here, that here we will provide functionality of our new thread. ओके, तो अभी क्या करने वाली है वो थ्रेड, वो यहाँ पे डिफाइन होगा. ओके, लेट्स मूव अहेड. You have to be little more fast, unless this is not going to complete. So out, sorry, dot println, and out is not completed, println, and I will write just a message that we are inside new thread. So whenever this method run will be executed by the compiler, we will see a message that we are inside new threads. In that way, we'll be able to see that either whether our new thread is running or not. That is it. Okay. So, and now an important concept that I am going to try to convey here is that the thread, when you try to implement a thread, you must keep in that mind that thread actually throws some exceptions. The thread functions or thread methods which are defined inside this class actually throw out some exceptions. So it is good that you must try to encapsulate the next coming block inside the try block. So the try block is initiated, and let me catch block is also initiated, and argument box and the body, and we'll come back to this lately. Now first I will initiate a for loop. For and I equal to 0, I must be, let's say, less than 10, and I plus plus. Let's start the for loops body, and inside that thread dot sleep and 400, and that is it. So what I have done here is I have initiated a for loop which will count from 0 to 9, that is 10 times, and every time we'll be inside that loop, we'll be calling on a method called sleep, which is defined inside the thread class of which we have created the object earlier. Okay, and we have passed an argument 400 to this particular method. Now 400 is the time for which we want our thread to sleep. Sleeping in literal terms means you want your body to take rest, and in Java it also means exactly same, that you want your thread to sleep, matlab you want your thread to stop executing anything for 400 milliseconds. Let me again say that the argument or the time that you have passed here inside this block, inside the argument block, is in milliseconds. So this thread will sleep for 400 milliseconds every time we are going to go through this loop. So 400 milliseconds multiplied by 10 is 4000 milliseconds. So in total, this particular thread is going to sleep for 4000 milliseconds. Okay. So let's move ahead. And let's also insert a output function in this for loop also, so that we can see that either this loop is doing well or not. Print ln, and again I will call a function which is defined in thread as the name is mytrd dot get name plus is running in loop number and plus I. That is it. So what we have done here, we have called a method called get name, which is defined inside this class, and as we have created an object of this class, so we can use all those methods, we can call all those methods. So we have called that. Now this get name is actually the name that we have passed here in the constructor. So as you can see, you have passed the name of your new thread, which alternatively will be passed on to this object. And when you call this object, then if you want to see what is the name of my new thread, it will came out exactly that you have inputted in the first place. Okay. So this is all done automatically. This is the automation, not sort of, but yes, kind of automation in processor in Java. Now one last thing is we have to complete the catchphrase, that is the type of exception the thread class throws is called interrupted exception. Interrupted exception and E, and inside the body I will write system.out.println, and if that is interrupted we can call new thread is, or let's get its name. Why not using this? We'll say mytrd dot get name plus is interrupted. So if an exception is thrown out of it, we are going to see this particular message here. Okay. And last, out of this complete block, try catch block, I will insert one more thing, system.out.println, and I will write mytrd dot get name plus is terminating. So whenever we get out of this thread, we'll get a message called the name of the thread is terminating, and that is it. We are done with our construction of new thread class. Now all we have to do is to implement to try to use this class in our main class. Okay, so I've already created a class in which I've created a main method. So let's try to implement that. Now whenever your main method is called, the thread of the main method start executing automatically by Java runtime environment. So as soon as compiler so you start executing your this particular class, and this particular main method is called, the thread for this main method is already has been automatically initiated or been called. So I will write a message here that system.out.println, and I will write a message called main thread is or has started. Okay, main thread has started. Okay, now all we have to do is let's create the object of this class that we have created, because we cannot use this until we haven't created the class. So I will put for a comment first. Okay, creating the object of class new thread. Okay, so it will be new. So I have to look for the name, exact name, my thread. I have written here my thread. Okay, so my thread is, let's say, only trd is equal to new my thread. And as you remember, the constructor of this class actually accept one argument called the name of your new thread. So I will pass a string called thread number 1. That is the name of my new thread. Okay. Okay. Now all we have to do is just use this. Okay. Now, one thing that I have told you in the last lecture is that your main thread must be the first thread to start and must be the last thread to be terminated. What I have told you in the last lecture. Now, as I've told you before, as soon as I've instantiated the object of this class my thread, this particular thread has already been started, because by calling the constructor I have actually called the start method, and this start method will actually call the run method, and execution of your let's say execution of your new thread has already been started. But the problem is that this thread will last long for 4000 seconds. So my main thread must terminate after 4000 seconds. Now how can we do that? As we have done that in this class, the main thread has also implements the use the thread class. So all the methods that are used here can be used in the main thread also. So again, let's start a for loop for int I equal to 0 and I must be less than, let's say, 50 this time, and I plus plus. And again, if I have to call a method of thread class, I have to encapsulate that inside the try block, because methods of the thread class can throw out exceptions of class interrupted exceptions. So inside the try block we are okay. I'm inside the try block, and there is only one method that I'm going to call, that is sleep method. So thread dot sleep, and in this case I will pass 100 milliseconds. So in this case, this thread will last long for 100 multiplied by 50, that is 5000 milliseconds, and that is more than 4000 milliseconds which this thread is going to last. So the main thread is going to last for 5000 milliseconds, and your custom thread is going to last for 4000 milliseconds. So your main thread is going to terminate last, and this is actually what we have wanted. Okay, so the catch block, we haven't written that catch block, and again interrupted exception E, and inside the body we can write system dot out dot println, and I will write println main thread is interrupted. That is it. And I'll also, why it is shown this, insert the, okay, I haven't, okay, I think this would, and in the end, I think outside the for loop, I will write a message called system.out.println main thread is terminating. Okay, so when the main thread terminates, I think this message should print, or we can write ending, whatever you want to write. I think we are done with this, and let's try to run if our threading works or not. Let's go to console. Oh yes, okay, we're done. So you can see here, first the Java compiler will look for the main method inside a class. Here we have, and as soon as we get inside this main method, the main thread will start, and this particular message main thread has started signifies that. Now after that, we have created the object of our custom thread, and I have told you before, as soon as I created the object of our custom thread class, my new thread has started executing. It is actually running, now it is running in parallel to main thread, and this particular message actually signifies that we are, as soon as we have created an object here, we are inside the new thread, and it will start counting. Thread 1 is running in loop number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is actually what we have put inside. Okay, and then our own thread is terminating, and at the end our main thread is terminating. At the end our main thread is terminating. So we begin with the main thread, we ended up with the main thread, but in the meantime my new thread, or the thread I have created, and the main thread are actually executing simultaneously. So this is multitasking. You cannot see, but how you can see that both are multitasking is, you can put a system.out.println message inside this try block. So in between these messages of the new thread, you will get a message from main thread also. So you can see that our own custom thread and main thread are executing or running simultaneously. So this is your multitasking in action. So I will stop this lecture right here. It's getting too long, and tomorrow we are going to, in the next lecture, we are going to finish our threading.